Hello and welcome to your Safe Spaces training module, part 5 of 6, which means that you are almost finished. Make sure to get out your worksheet, Make sure to have your worksheet out so that you can follow along. And much like part 4, you'll be able to use the table in different places. So make sure to push pause if there's ever something that you need to take a moment to think about. And we'll get started. So as you might have guessed, this part is called Resources and Services, and the resources and services that you provide are indicative of the kind of space that you're trying to make available to youth. So if you're providing resources and services that cater to LGBTQ youth, then you might be considered a safer space to those youth. So the objectives for this section, by assisting youth in being healthy and empowered, people can benefit that through resources and services. So we'll look at how resources and services shape your organization. We will initiate the process of assessing your agency's resources and services. And then, of course, we will help you get connected to more resources and organizations that you can find all of the questions that you need answered. So make sure you have your worksheet out to take out different notes on this, since this is based more on an assessment. So the resources and the services you provide tell your clients and participants who is important to you and how you specialize. So the first question you have to ask yourself are, what services and resources are you providing that are applicable or usable to LGBTQ youth? So it's the difference between really if you have, if you're the only community center in the area that has a queer discussion group, then it might be more obvious that you are looking to help LGBTQ youth. And if you don't offer those kind of things, then it's not certain that you won't be able to create a safe space, but services are a great way to keep people coming back to your center. So here are some ideas on what ways of thinking you might want to employ in ensuring your space is safer. And these are obviously just examples and jumping off points, and they might not work for everyone's space, but they're, like I said, they're ideas. You want to look at addressing the community needs and then tailoring the programs. If youth need job help, then maybe you should work on that and not just what's common for LGBT programs like HIV prevention or health services. You might also want to work on the kind of things that the community of youth that you're serving are asking for. And so obviously over on the left side we have questions like, are you offering condoms, dental dams, and other safe sex materials that are inclusive of of all kinds of sex that youth might be engaging in? Do you offer counseling services? Do you have pamphlets on coming out, on homelessness, on eating disorders, or suicide hotlines? Are you able to provide the resources for youth on what we've already established they might be at higher risk for having? And then when we look at programs, do you provide programs for LGBTQ youth, like support groups, maybe a gay man discussion group, or social spaces like dances, or like gay proms, that kind of stuff? Do you have art spaces that are queer friendly or that empower queer youth, as well as discussion spaces that and political social events that kind of include topics that are specifically queer or can include LGBT in its topic area? So as an assessment of your resources and services, you have to ask yourself, if you're connected, do you engage in partnerships with other organizations to ensure filling the gaps to overlap? So are you connected with other youth organizations? Do you have partnerships with the Latino Resource Center in the community? Are you connected to the health department? Are you able to uphold LGBTQ competency in the local community? So do you know about other LGBT resources that if you aren't able to provide them, then are you able to connect your youth to those kind of resources that they might need? And that's kind of just going through the assessment of what you're going to want to look for. If you look at your worksheet, we have a table here about resources and services. So if you can list out aspects in which your organization is LGBTQ inclusive, and then aspects of which your organization is unsafe, or places that you might want to improve and add on to, and there's space for you to fill out both resources and services. So if you want to take a minute to pause that or do it after the training module, I welcome that right now. So we have a lot of other, at NYAC, at the National Youth Advocacy Coalition, we have a lot of other resources that we can connect you to. And just because, you know, trying to fit everything into one training module, we can't get everything in there. So I just wanted to make sure to point out that these will be listed on the Safe Spaces website. You can access our resource and recorded webinar library, which can show you some best practices of LGBTQ youth programs if you're looking to add to your programs or change them a little bit. We have best practices that you can look through. We have the Youth Adult Partnerships training, so if you're looking to include youth in you know, internships or board members or staff, and you want to find ways to engage them, including LGBTQ youth in this process can be very helpful. We also have some social marketing, which can help you outreach to the community. We have a Creating Safe Spaces recorded webinar that's shorter, so that if you are trying to include other staff members in this conversation, but they don't have time for 6 videos worth of training modules, then you can show them something that's shorter. And then we also have LGBTQ youth health resources. So if you're looking to write any grants or try to meet the needs of maybe tobacco cessation or body image, you can find those on in our resource library as well. One thing I want to point out is that it's important, we think it's important to also point you to organizations that can help beyond NYAC, because obviously we can't be doing everything. So one of those organizations that is really important to point out is the Trevor Project. The Trevor Project is an organization that is based around suicide prevention for LGBTQ youth, but they also deal with other crisis situations. They have the suicide hotline that you can see at the bottom of the page, and they also have a database of local resources that anyone can look through to find resources for LGBTQ youth. And you can find that on the Safe Spaces webpage of resources as well. GLSEN, the Gay, Lesbian, and Straight Education Network, works specifically with school communities and trying to advocate for LGBTQ youth in schools and those kind of settings. They have a lot of literature and kind of data and programs that you might be able to use to include in your creating your programs. And I would definitely recommend going to the GLSEN website. The last one that I'm going to specifically point out is Lambda Legal. Now we have done work in the past with Lambda Legal in creating publications on youth and policies. Like you saw before, there's the Bending the Mold, the action kit for transgender students. You can also find on their website lots of links to specific policy changes that you might want to make, or policy briefs. If you have a crisis and you need lawyer representation, Lambda Legal is the first place to go for LGBTQ legal assistance. And then, of course, there are a lot of national LGBT and youth organizations that are helpful in coming up with kind of other programs or needing other resources or needing assistance. And we have linked to them as well, a lot of our partner organizations. And then, like I was saying before, the Trevor Project maintains a database of local and state resources that you might be able to find in your area. So if you're looking for maybe places to where there are gay discussion groups in your area, then this is one way that you can find those. And lastly, once you have done all of your resources, you can go on our website and check out what we have for you. And then if you have any questions, make sure to give me a call or give me an email with any questions about resources. And you have just finished section 5, and your last one is section 6 coming right up.